can't even taste it. I think the ratio between coffee and the French vanilla flavor is like it's not a good ratio. Like there's more coffee, like way more coffee than there is cream, so not even worth the 20 calories. Damn, that sucks. Anyway, yes, Conan, welcome to a brand new video. My name is Guys, and today is gonna be the best day ever. So today we're gonna be discussing the side effects of bodybuilding. And now, these aren't the side effects you think I'm gonna talk about. These are even worse. So yeah, buckle up. Let's get started. Actually, before we get started, we gotta quickly finish our essay, so let's do that first.
This is this is bye-bye, ta-ta, audio. This is all or none, this is all I know. This that, I don't know, we try and go. I don't wanna know, I'm just trying to roll. Me and my friends trying to hit the road, trying to catch a wave, gotta free my soul. Thought I was gone, but I'm back. Wild ones on the attack. Got no time to relax. Let's go pronto ASAP. They keep watching my moves. Added it and then you. They ain't heard the good news. That's what you gotta do, just break out. So everybody break out, it's on a break out. We about to, it's time, let's go, let's ride, let's roll. Got me feeling so free now, it's exactly what I need.
Alright guys, so the essay is almost done. Using the cake analogy, we've basically mixed all the ingredients together, so the sugar, the flour, the eggs. We mixed them all together, we put it into the oven at 350 for about 20 minutes, so it's baked, fully ready to go. The only thing that's missing is the icing on top. That's it. So that should be done by tonight. Anyway, I also prepped my meals for later today, so we got about 3 meals in here. We got some anabolic French toast. We got a big ass salad, and then we got some sweet potato or yam with some chicken breast. So those are the 3 meals we'll be eating at work later today. But before we go to work, we gotta go to the gym. But before we go to the gym, I got one very, very important phone call to make, so.
You have reached mailbox.
I swear, this guy never answers his phone call. Anyway, let's just go to the gym. Alright guys, just pulled up to the gym, and we're gonna try calling this guy one more time. Just one more time, just to see. Yo guys, what's up?
Yo, what's up?
Yo, it's been forever, man. Where you been?
Dude, you slept home?
No, I was just saying, like, the people miss you, man. Like, they've been asking for you.
I was headed down the wrong route, made a change, found a way out. Fake friends give me fake pounds. Say what's up, but won't see me down. See me down, see me down. They say what's up, but won't see me down. See me down, see me down. They say what's up, but won't see me down. I was headed down the wrong route, made a change, found a way out. Fake friends give me fake pounds. Say what's up, but won't see me down. See me down, see me down. They say what's up, but won't see me down. See me down, see me down. They say what's up. I was so stuck in the grind. Money was all that was stuck on my mind. Chicks would be mad, I ain't give them no time. Canceled on dates like 100 times. I knew that I would be one of a kind. MJ Olympics, I'm so number 9. You cannot catch me not rolling with mine. Couldn't shatter my dreams cause my hope was alive. I'm talking pack if the pack, it was back if the back. Tripling up was a back if the back. I knew that this could all make it around. So I had to record it.
Alright guys, so workout is done, cardio is done, which is ideal because now we don't have to go back to the gym after work tonight. So anyway, yeah, I'm gonna go to work right now. But anyway, I know I haven't even talked about the topic of today's video, which I apologize, but I will talk about it right now. The dark side of bodybuilding, like the darker side than the dark side, what you're expecting. There's like even a darker side to that. So we're gonna be discussing that in today's video. Let's get started. Hey, look, it's Walmart. Alright guys, so the first thing and probably the most important thing you gotta keep in mind if you do decide to get into this whole bodybuilding thing is it is extremely, and I mean extremely expensive. Alright, so let's just narrow this down to simply just competing, because bodybuilding is a pretty broad term, so let's just narrow it down to competing. So what many people fail to realize, and with many people I mean myself, is that the cost of competing is very, very expensive. Now, I'm not just talking about the cost of food, of groceries, because at the end of the day, we all have to buy our groceries, we all have to eat food, so that's not the biggest thing. However, just to quickly touch on that, a lot of people think that, okay, so the less food you eat, the less money you have to spend on food, right? Well, you're wrong, because just simply thinking about it, buying leaner meats, so leaner cuts of meats, are generally more expensive. So just think about chicken breast versus chicken thighs or chicken drumsticks. Obviously the chicken breast is going to be more expensive because it's a leaner meat, whereas the chicken thighs and chicken breast are a lot higher in fat, so the butchers don't have to trim all the fat off. that's just very simply put, leaner meats are more expensive than fattier meats. So let's just get that out of the way. Buying groceries when you're on prep or when you're competing are going to be more expensive than your normal grocery shops. Now, secondly, and this is what people fail to realize, is that especially if it's your first time competing, you're going to have to spend a lot of money on just learning the basics. So if you're brand new to bodybuilding and you're wanting to compete, be prepared to spend lots of money on, number one, a coach, because if you don't know what you're doing, you're probably not going to see the results you're looking for. Even though you may think you know a lot, when it comes to peak week and dropping down your calories or adding more cardio or refeed days, you probably don't know a lot. So especially if it's your first time competing, investing in a coach that'll actually tell you what to do so you don't have to second guess yourself is going to be very beneficial to you. Secondly is a posing coach. Guys, when you're competing and when you're stepping on stage, you got to show off your body in a good way that the judges will actually like. Simply just standing there shredded, it's not going to help you get first place. You actually got to know how to showcase your body in a aesthetic way, because otherwise you're just standing there shredded, not knowing what to do. So secondly, invest in a posing coach. This may not be as important if you've already competed before, but if you're brand new like me, like just knowing the basics is definitely a good place to start. So investing in a posing coach is going to be very beneficial as well. Thirdly is the tanning. Now, I haven't looked into this yet, but I'm guessing the tan is going to be pretty expensive as well, because you don't want to step on stage being like super pale. Like obviously you want to have like a nice tan going and stuff like that. So those are just a few of the many things you got to be prepared to spend money on if you're planning on competing, because again, it's not a cheap sport. You got to really put a lot of time and effort into it, including lots of money. Alright guys, so I just got off work, and the second thing you got to keep in mind if you do decide to compete in bodybuilding is that food eating disorders and body dysmorphia are very, very likely. Alright, so I decided to put these two, food eating disorder and body dysmorphia, together because I feel like the two kind of go hand in hand. And now recently these two things have been brought up quite a lot on social media. Like I see it on my TikTok all the time, like things to keep in mind if you work out, like you'll get body dysmorphia or you'll get a food eating disorder. And it's like everyone talks about it, so I feel like it's pretty, not normal, but it's like it's a lot more just out there and there's a lot more exposure on it. And like I haven't really talked about it on my YouTube channel much, but I have probably experienced a food eating disorder. And it's kind of funny because at the time I had no idea I was going through it, but looking back now I'm like, okay, yeah, that was definitely a food eating disorder. So when I first started tracking my calories and macros at the age of about 14, I think, which again was like a super young age. I don't recommend any of you guys to start that young, but anyway, I did it that young, and like I literally, like I was obsessed about just food in general. Like I was eating like 1800 calories, which for a 14-year-old skinny kid is like not ideal. Like you should be eating a lot more. But for some reason I was watching like all these pro bodybuilders eating on their prep, and they were eating such low food. I was like, okay, you know what, I should probably eat that amount too for whatever reason, right? And then like I remember this so vividly. Like I was at school, like literally everyone else is on their phone like Snapchatting or whatever. I was literally on my fitness pal calculating like what types of food I can fit into my calories and macros for that day. Like I was literally planning out my food for the day on my fitness pal. Like who does that at 14 years old, right? Like that's definitely a food eating disorder. Like you shouldn't fantasize and revolve your days around food at the age of 14 especially. But yeah, that's definitely something that you will probably experience as well. Like you'll start fantasizing more about food, you'll start revolving your days more around food, you'll start prioritizing more like your calories and macros and your protein, your carbs and fats, and you'll just start thinking about it a lot more. And whether that's a food eating disorder or not, like whatever, who knows, but it's definitely not a healthy relationship to be in with food. And I know Greg Doucette says you can't have a relationship with food, but like you know what I mean, right? So that's the biggest thing. You'll probably, especially if you're trying to compete for a bodybuilding show, when you're so energy deprived and you're so low on food, like it's inevitable for you to start thinking and fantasizing about food. So that's one really big thing to keep in mind. And secondly is body dysmorphia. This is just pretty common and general. Like the day you start working out is the day you'll be small forever. Like this isn't as bad as the food eating disorder, because I feel like pretty much everyone goes through this. Like once you start working out, you're like, okay, well, I want to have bigger biceps, or I want a bigger chest, or I want bigger legs, or I just want to improve, you know? So you'll never actually be satisfied with your body, which again is pretty, like that's not that strange. Like we should all try to improve our physique to some points, right? We should never be satisfied with what we have. We always want to have more. Like, so again, this whole body dysmorphia, like it sounds bad, but at the end of the day, it's really not. Like it just means that you're trying to self-improve, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So yeah, those are the two biggest things you got to keep in mind if you do decide to compete in a bodybuilding show. Alright guys, so we're ending the night with a big fat protein shake. So this has like 250 calories, very high volume as you can see. and just a quick little taste test to make sure it's actually tasting good. And it actually tastes good too. So it's like the best of both worlds. Ideal when you're dieting, so I'll probably show this in like one of my next full days of eating videos, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, before I end today's video, I just quickly wanted to share the last point with you guys. And I was actually going to do two separate ones, but considering that they're both also pretty like similar in nature, I'm just going to combine both of them together. So basically, the most important thing you gotta keep in mind and consider if you do decide to go into this whole bodybuilding phase, career, or whatever you want to call it, is that number one, it is a very lonely path, and secondly, you gotta do it for you. So in terms of loneliness, like because it's such a niche sport, like it's not a team sport, it's not like, because I'm so used to playing team sports, like for my entire life I played soccer, and then even before that I played basketball, I did whatever, hockey, rugby, football, so I played a bunch of team sports, and so that's basically how I like grew up in my childhood. And only until recently I really got into bodybuilding, and I noticed that it's such a lonely sport. Like there's no teammates you can rely on, which could be a good and a bad thing, because obviously like teammates can let you down, so it's kind of cool that everything relies on you. Like you don't rely on other people to do certain things, like it's all on you. If you make a mistake, it's your fault. If you do well, however, it is entirely your success as well. So it's a very lonely sport. No one's there to really help you or guide you. It's really just you versus you. That's one thing to keep in mind. And secondly, is that you just gotta do it for you, man, because again, because it's such a lonely sport, there won't really be many people, like, of course people will support you, but it's not like they'll be there for like your entire journey. It's like there's times where I'm like super lonely because like no one can really relate to this. Like none of my friends can relate to this, not even my family can relate to this. It's such a niche and special sport that it's like not really many people relate to it or don't even like it. So it's like you really gotta do it for yourself. Don't do this to try and impress your friends or your family or your whatever, a girl. Just really do it for you, because again, as I mentioned earlier, if you do it for somebody else or for some reason that isn't for yourself, then you're just gonna end up failing, or you won't end up being as successful or end up getting as much satisfaction from it. So again, the biggest thing I want you guys to take away from this video is that if you do decide to do this or decide to compete, really do it for yourself and don't do it for anyone else, because again, like you'll probably end up failing. Really ask yourself, do you want to do this? Because again, it's not for everyone. It's very, you're literally going against your own body's physiology. Like your body isn't meant to go like single digit body fat percentage. Like your body is meant to be as efficient as possible, and that doesn't mean being like single digit body fat percentage. Like no, that like your body doesn't want that. You're going against your body. So yeah, really ask yourself, do you want to do this? And then really ask yourself why, because the why is going to be the most important factor in all of this. So that's basically it. So as I'm enjoying this protein ice cream, I've come to the conclusion that I'm going to end today's video right here. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to go give this video a thumbs up. I would highly appreciate it. Subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.